let's take a look at culture and leadership. Since World War II, globalization has been advancing throughout the world. It's increased our interdependence, economic, social, technical, and political, between nations. There's an international trade, cultural exchange, and use of worldwide telecommunication systems. People are becoming more interconnected, and in the age of the internet, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, we can communicate across cultures at a push of a button. For our purposes, let's define culture as the learned beliefs, values, rules, norms, symbols, and traditions that are common to a group of people. Multicultural implies an approach or a system that takes more than one culture into account. Diversity refers to the existence of different cultures or ethnicities within a group or an organization. These definitions in our common language can help in improving leadership effectiveness. Ethnocentrism is the tendency for individuals to place their own group, ethnic, racial, or cultural, at the center of their observations of others and the world. Ethnocentrism is the perception that one's own culture is better or more natural than the culture of others. It may include the failure to recognize the unique perspectives of others. Ethnocentrism is like a perceptual window through which people from one culture make subjective or critical evaluations of people from another culture. Ethnocentrism can be a major obstacle to effective leadership because it prevents people from fully understanding or respecting the viewpoints of others. Even as they recognize their own ethnocentrism, leaders need to also understand and, to a degree, tolerate the ethnocentrism of others. Skilled leaders are able to negotiate the fine line between trying to overcome ethnocentrism and knowing when to remain grounded in their own cultural values. Prejudice is largely a fixed attitude, belief, or emotion held by an individual about another individual or group that is based on faulty or unsubstantiated data. Prejudice involves inflexible generalizations that are resistant to change or evidence to the contrary. In addition to finding their own prejudice, leaders face the challenge of dealing with the prejudice of others. These prejudices can be towards the leader or the leader's culture. Skilled leaders need to find ways to negotiate with followers from various cultural backgrounds. Determining the basic dimensions or characteristics of different cultures is the first step in being able to understand the relationships between them. The GLOBE studies have generated a very large number of findings on the relationship between culture and leadership. The primary purpose of the project is to increase our understanding of cross-cultural interactions and the impact of culture on leadership effectiveness. As part of the study of culture and leadership, GLOBE researchers developed their own classification of cultural dimensions. Uncertainty avoidance. This dimension refers to the extent to which a society, an organization, or a group relies on established social norms, rituals, and procedures to avoid uncertainty. Power distance. This dimension refers to the degree to which members of a group expect and agree that power should be shared unequally. Institutional collectivism. This dimension describes the degree to which an organization or society encourages institutional or societal collective action. In-group collectivism. This dimension refers to the degree to which people express pride, loyalty, and cohesiveness in their organizations or families. Gender egalitarianism. This dimension measures the degree to which an organization or society minimizes gender role differences and promotes gender equality. Assertiveness. This dimension refers to the degree to which people in a culture are determined, assertive, confrontational, and aggressive in their social relationships. Future orientation. This concept refers to the extent to which people engage in future-oriented behaviors such as planning, investing in the future, and delaying gratification. Performance orientation. This dimension describes the extent to which an organization or society encourages and rewards group members for improved performance and excellence. Humane orientation. The ninth dimension refers to the degree to which a culture encourages and rewards people for being fair, altruistic, generous, caring, and kind to others. These cultural dimensions formed the basis for studying how the countries varied in their approach to leadership. Globe researchers divided the data from 62 countries they studied into regional clusters. These clusters provided a convenient way to analyze the similarities and differences between cultural groups known as clusters and make meaningful generalizations about culture and leadership. To create regional clusters, Globe researchers used prior research, common language, geography, religion, and historical accounts. To test whether the clusters or groups of countries were valid, researchers did a statistical analysis of questionnaire data collected from individuals in each of the clusters. However, further research has pointed out that there are limitations to the clusters developed by the Globe studies. From the data collected, several observations can be made about characteristics of regional cultures. The Globe Project. Researchers wanted to determine the ways in which cultural characteristics were related to culturally endorsed leadership behaviors. They wanted to find out how the differences in cultures were related to differences in approaches to leadership. According to implicit leadership theory, individuals have implicit beliefs and convictions about the attributes and beliefs that distinguish leaders from non-leaders and effective leaders from ineffective leaders. To describe how different cultures view leadership behaviors in others, Globe researchers identified 6 global leadership behaviors: charismatic, value-based, team-oriented, participative, humane-oriented, autonomous, and self-productive. Charismatic and value-based leadership reflects the ability to inspire, to motivate, and to expect high performance from others based on strongly held core values. Team-oriented leadership emphasizes team building and a common purpose among team members. Participative leadership reflects the degree to which leaders involve others in making and implementing decisions. It includes being participative and non-autocratic. Humane-oriented leadership emphasizes being supportive, considerate, compassionate, and generous. Autonomous leadership refers to independent and individualistic leadership, which includes being autonomous and unique. Self-protective leadership reflects behaviors that ensure the safety and security of the leader and the group. The 6 global leadership behaviors emerged from the Globe research were used to assess the different ways in which various cultural clusters viewed leadership. Although there's not a single unified theory of culture and leadership, findings have several strengths. The Globe Project was a massive undertaking. The findings that have emerged from this work make a powerful statement about how cultures around the world view leadership. In the leadership literature, there are many qualitative studies that focus more narrowly on how people in certain countries view a small number of leadership concepts. The Globe studies provide a classification of cultural dimensions that's more expansive than the commonly used Hofstede classification system. Clearly, people from most cultures view good leadership as based on integrity, charisma, and interpersonal ability. The Globe studies and Hofstede classification systems have provided a foundation for subsequent and numerous studies. The study of culture and leadership underscores the complexity of leadership process and how it's influenced by culture. There are many ways to view leadership and the integration of culture. Studies of leadership help us to expand and develop a richer understanding of the leadership process. The body of research on culture and leadership has several weaknesses. Research does not provide a clear set of assumptions and propositions that can form a single theory about the way culture relates to leadership or influences the leadership process. A second criticism, more narrow in scope, concerns the way researchers have labeled and defined certain cultural dimensions and leadership behaviors. Another criticism concerns the way in which leadership was conceptualized in the Globe studies. Finally, the Globe studies provide a provocative list of universally endorsed desirable and undesirable leadership attributes. The Globe studies tend to isolate a set of attributes that are characteristic of effective leaders without considering the influence of situational effects. Understanding issues about culture is useful in several ways from a leadership perspective. First, findings about culture can help leaders understand their own cultural biases and preferences. Second, findings help leaders to understand what it means to be a good leader. Different cultures have different ideas about what they want from their leaders. By understanding cultural differences, leaders can be more empathetic and accurate in their communication with others. Information on culture and leadership has also been applied in very practical ways. Globalization has created the need for leaders with greater understanding of cultural differences and increased complexities in cross-cultural communication and practice. Culture is defined as the commonly shared beliefs, values, and norms of a group of people. Two factors that can inhibit cultural awareness are ethnocentrism and prejudice. In the past 30 years, many studies have focused on identifying various dimensions of culture. The Globe studies offer the strongest body of findings to date on culture and leadership. In addition, Globe researchers identified 6 global leadership behaviors that could be used to characterize how different cultural groups view leadership. One outcome of the Globe project was the identification of a list of leadership attributes that were universally endorsed as positive and negative attributes of leadership. The findings from this project make a major statement about how cultures around the world view leadership. Regardless of limitations, the Globe studies stand out because they offer much valuable information about the unique ways culture influences the leadership process.